Hey YouTube, hope you guys are well today. Um, so, in the saga of my injured heel, the meltdown injury, one of many, I had my x ray today. And when I got there, the x ray tech asked me what happened. And I said, well, I'm autistic and I had a meltdown and I stomped it like this. And she said something like, well, maybe next time you won't do that. Or you'll find something better to do, or something like that. And it kind of annoyed me, and I was like, you see this scar on my hand? That was from an injury that was even worse, and I still couldn't stop myself. No one would choose this. I can't control it. And then I just shut up, and I realized I was probably being rude. And she's doing a service for me, so I just quietly cooperated with the X-ray. And when I was done, I posted on Reddit about it to the autism subreddit. I think it was the evil autism subreddit. And the first comment I got was something like, well, I asked if that was ableist or if I was just being immature. And the first commenter said, getting angry and defensive is always immature. And yeah, basically I was rude, and I could either say, I just responded like, yeah, maybe you're right. Or I could have said, no, actually, I can't control it, and I'm just trapped in this physical body of violence, and I'm trapped in this prison of physical violence, and gee, doc, you're really naive. And it felt kind of like harsh, but it also was like maybe right. I didn't like it, but I commented, thank you, I appreciate it. Or fair point, thank you, I appreciate it. And thought to myself, well, yeah, I need to control myself better. The same old story for the past 35 years or however long. I'm 34, but you get the idea. Anyway, so I was trying to get the bus back to my apartment, and the bus system changed here recently, so I kept getting in the wrong bus stop, and I missed the first bus that I wanted, and I ran to the stop across the street to get the next correct bus, and then I ran back across the street again because I saw the number of the bus that I wanted returning. But they said that they make a loop, and they were going in a different direction this time. And so I have one cane, and fortunately I was able to hobble around pretty fast. But yeah, plenty of jaywalking on a cane. Probably didn't look too good, but there weren't a lot of people around. Anyway, so I was pretty stressed out by not being able to get home, and then thinking that I was just a crazy person who has no self-control and needs to stop injuring themselves. And I checked back on Reddit, and that comment had started to get a lot of downvotes, and someone else commented that it was actually a bit a jerk move for the radiologist to comment on something I can't control, rather than just saying like, I'm sorry that happened, I'm glad you're okay, or whatever. And I responded like, that's kind of how I felt. If I was in that kind of a job, I feel like I would just be generally polite and not make specific comments about what happened, and just be general and polite. But that's not exactly what happened, and apparently most of the other people, except for that one commenter, agreed and felt the same way I did. And yeah, like if I I've tried very hard to not have meltdowns, and even in the efforts of making my life so that I have fewer of them and all that, you still end up having them from time to time because you can't control every single thing that happens in life. It's just not really possible. And sometimes the nervous system of an autistic person just plain old gets overloaded. Like the math doesn't add up. You get 110% of the capacity for the nervous system. And I'm not neurotypical, so I don't know if neurotypical people sometimes have meltdowns from being overstimulated, but like I thought that was an autistic thing. And so I just wonder like how everybody else copes with it. And I know that it's not like all roses for every neurotypical person, and that life is hard for a lot of people, maybe most people. Anyway, so it was nice to feel that affirmation that I wasn't just a crazy, immature, Hulk, idiot, loose cannon person who needs to calm down and just control myself harder or better. It's not to say that I don't agree that I should control myself, but what I am learning as an autistic, late diagnosed autistic person is that you cannot ultimately prevent meltdowns. So yeah, reduce the stimulus, remove yourself from the situation, ensure safety, and wait it out as best you can. That's what my therapist told me, and she's specializes in neurodivergence. So yeah. Anyway, so I got the X-ray. We'll see what happens. Another thing that happened today is I got a call back for that job interview for the health room assistant, and they said they went in a different direction, and they wished me well or whatever, and at the end he said like, you were not the successful candidate. Okay, thank you, goodbye, or something like that. And it's fine, it's all neutral business talk, but it still kind of stung a little bit. But we press on, and I was kind of relieved because I don't really want that job necessarily. I more just want the schedule and the having my own office, basically, a quieter, controlled environment and fewer hours. So I sent out 2 more applications for 2 jobs that I also don't really want. They're paraeducator one-on-one roles, which feasibly I could do that, but it would just be limited. Probably I'd get burnt out. But the reason I chose them is because these 2 para roles were for only 4 or 5 hours a day, and I think I could do that for longer than I have been maintaining my employment anyway. So it's very unsettling to think about not having a job and not knowing what I'm going to do. It's even worse not wanting to do anything and just having this weird limbo state of just living in a fantasy land. And like I said recently, I had a meltdown because I had stacked all these different activities, a volunteership, orientation, the job interview, and a doctor's appointment. All good things to do, but I had been on medical leave for a while from melting down at work, and so I guess also the weather's turned hot and all that. My brain said, you have to do this. My body said, no, I don't wanna. My brain said, you have to anyway. And my body said, no, I don't wanna, and went meltdown mode, basically. And that's how I hurt my heel. That's how I damaged the wall again. Luckily, not too badly. And when we move out, knock on wood, everything should be easy to fix with some spackle and some paint and whatever. Some putty, some paint. It should be fine. But it sucks that that happens. And so looking into the future of employment and what I'll do, I just wish that I had been able to get through grad school, because then I could work from home online as a therapist, and my communications with the Department of Vocational Rehab, while I have not yet been approved, I did exchange some emails with a couple people, and one of them was telling me how they would help me pay for school, and help me get through school, and then help me find a job, and then help me keep the job. So these are all things I need help with. So I'm trying to keep a positive mindset. I'm sort of a spiritual hippie. I've always been, even before I knew what it was. In my own private mind, there's always been lots of what I thought was just magical thinking, which maybe it is, but just, even though life seems so unpleasant, starting in middle school especially, everything just was, I was depressed. Nothing felt good, and it just kept happening. It was overwhelming, and people were unpleasant. It seemed like I didn't really like the way I was treated in middle school for the most part. I would still have this like little narrative in my head that I can't really remember what the specifics were, but I remember thinking that it was like crazy and I should keep it to myself. But it was like really optimistic, spiritual thinking about the future, about how it's all going to be good and this and that. And I've had that feeling my entire life. It might just be a coping, a form of coping. Surely it probably is. But there are those on YouTube who talk about this time period as sort of a transition. And there's this idea that's I've heard from different sources that the new Earth and the new human, they even have like, they call it the Homo luminous, or I've also heard the term Homo universalis. As we evolve into this new Earth, the 5D consciousness of the unity awareness out of the 3D struggle, us and them, decay and death and fear and all that material mindset, this new energy is about showing up authentically in the places and for the things and with the people that truly feed your soul and that are truly a good match for you, that you truly contribute to with the fullness of your authentic expression and your enthusiasm and your talent and ability and interest. And that sounds great, pie in the sky as well, but wouldn't it be nice if, we weren't all threatened with homelessness and whatnot, if we couldn't keep doing the crap that we don't like doing, and instead there was free energy and we got to choose what we did and how we contributed and blah blah blah. So again, I've said it before, I've really wished the aliens would save me, and a lot of spiritual hippies and alien nerds do, and implicitly or very explicitly hope that we're gonna get like 0 point energy and we'll be able to like power our house with a small little battery and just do whatever the heck we want. And we'll have such technology that we can clean up the environment and blah blah blah. It would be cool. And there are conspiracies that the big oil companies and all that like have prevented these sorts of things for the last 70, 80 years or whatever. My adoptive dad was born in 1949, so now he's 77. And he told me when I was a kid that when he was a kid, someone had invented a motor, an engine a car that ran on chicken shit, as he stated it. But that person was like bought out or shut down somehow by the oil companies. And yeah, that was 25 years ago he was telling me that. So it's just a very old idea. It might be true. In the past year, so many scientists who were involved in working on 0 point energy were, died, like disappeared, or killed themselves out of nowhere, stuff like that. So it's pretty trippy. I just talked about how I saw the movie Disclosure Day, and Steven Spielberg really explicitly was trying to make it look like the now moment, like today, like the news they were talking about in the movie were very similar to the kinds of things we're hearing about now, or not hard to imagine to extrapolate from now. And so it just seems like it's the moment that we really need to make that transition away from this destructive energy source and this hegemony and this hierarchical structure that keeps people enslaved to their jobs and at a certain standard of living. Well, very few have so much. It doesn't need to be that way. And the other idea, so there's something called Project Looking Glass. I'm an Ancient Aliens nerd and whatnot. There's a lot of YouTube channels that talk about these kinds of things. Area 52 and Jesse Michaels' podcast and stuff like that. I don't watch a lot of them, but I'm super interested in this stuff. Project Looking Glass was this supposed secret government program, a CIA thing, I guess, that some kind of technology that they could use to see future probabilities or probable futures. And after a certain point, like every variable that they manipulated still only yielded one of two outcomes after a certain point, where they had been able to make lots of changes. Now they would either get mass global awakening of consciousness, or total utter cataclysm, climate destruction and whatnot. And it seems to me like, and a lot of people, but in my paranoid brain I speculate a lot about it, or I have, that the tech billionaires and all them are trying to make sure that it goes into the cataclysm direction so that they can extract all the wealth off of us and then go hide underground or whatever they're going to do with their amazing technology and wealth. They don't want us to have a mass awakening, because then they don't have this same kind of control or any control, perhaps. So anyway, I'll end it on that note, and if this is the last video I ever make, it's because the CIA kidnapped me. But just kidding. I hope you're having a great time wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Life is hard, but knock on wood, thankfully it doesn't constantly stay hard every single second. At least not for me, even though when I'm really having a hard time, I really believe that it's always bad. It's really not always bad. So here's to it not always being bad and sometimes being kind of cool. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Let's see.